Drum nerds, drum nerdesses, like, subscribe. I'm sorry, it's been a while. Right, before we get into this video, this Lovebites, I've been training for my own powerlifting meet coming up. I've been organizing entirely on my own a strongest member contest coming up at my work at the gym. I've been studying for some seriously important interviews and tests. So you didn't come here for the rundown of that. You came for the rundown of this video, but I am just apologizing, not making excuses, just giving an insight. So I do apologize for that distance. I want to get more and more consistent here. I've fallen off the wagon slightly. So again, I do apologize, but we are here for Lovebites. This has been suggested a lot, stand and deliver. So let's, not like I'm assuming they won't, but let's hope they deliver. Let's go. Okay. I don't see any 11. If you know, you know. Good start with the bass. The video quality on this is excellent too, by the way. I love that it's just everything. It's almost I've been away for so long. It's definitely an ostinato. It's definitely a feature part. Everything's stabbing all at once, but I love the low end of that floor tom with the snare. It's always a great way to do it. And the whammy bar. We got a whammy bar. Quick feature on why whammy bars are such a little pain in the absolute ass to use. Not that I've ever used one, but from personal experience of being in bands, they basically stretch. They elongate and unelongate, but they elongate the strings. They basically stretch, contract. So it can easily throw your guitar out of tune completely after a couple whammies. So it's a very skilled thing to do there. You go too hard on that, you could possibly snap your strings, but at the very least, you're going to detune the guitar. So, impressive stuff. Anytime anybody wins. Loving those loose hats. And that China stab. That chunky guitar though, eh? It's a really fat, thick, chunky guitar tone. I'm a big fan of that. Onto that Z bell. So the only thing I'm going to say, because this is just my personal enjoyment, is the bass drum could be pulled up a bit more. The low end could be there. There's a lot of bass drum attack, so you've got in the mic, in the mix, what that would be essentially would be a lot of the batter head mic, and the low end, to my personal enjoyment, could be brought up a bit. Right now it's a bit clicky. It's a bit much of the attack, but the toms sound fabulous, and that's not a dig or anything. I know when I try and explain these things, everybody goes, hubba keyboard warrior time. Look, personal opinions are just that. And I've been in the studios and I know what I like and what I like to hear. And so, but that's not detracting from their musicality and their ability. And I love that Z bell. See, now again, this is the Drum Nerd channel. I've been away for so long, I need to really sink my teeth in. But there was so many different top end sounds there coming from the drums. You had the body of the ride. You momentarily had the far end shoulder of the ride in terms of it was a bit more washy, a bit more like a crash. You had the body being pretty tingy, pingy, articulate. Then you had the Z bell. Then you had the China for a few stabs, and now you're back to loose hats. So you're exploring so many different sonic profiles there. And I can't believe I just said sonic profiles. Oh, this is the drummer channel. But it's excellent, that level of diversity. After coming in with floor tom and that rolling double pedal, halftime. Now, what I heard there, if you don't know this band, I'm going to bring them onto this channel, but Mando Jiao, one of my favorite bands, love them. I don't think they really exist in the same concept as they did back when I started listening to them. They've kind of, the two front have dispersed and everything. But the point is, the tone of that guitar solo sounded very much like Mando Jiao. I'm not saying that Lovebites has taken that, because it's, the way you tune and use tones in guitar are not, synonymous for individuals or bands, but it just sounded like that. That's very much how that sounded to me. And Mando Jiao is very, it's hard to describe, like a rock, indie, Hives, but grungy, but not Nirvana grungy. It's hard to describe that, but it made me think that, and I really love it. This is what I'm trying to get at. Point being, check out Mando Jiao. I want a lot of cross-pollination of all these different bands. Onto that ride again, I think. Yeah. So that was onto the body of the ride. You can hear the differences. Listen to the difference. It's very articulate and pingy and high and bright, whereas the Z bell is a little bit lower and less resonant, because it's so tiny and so dense. It's very, very, very unresponsive in the sense of resonating. It's just very quick attack in and out. So listen to the body of the ride and then the Z bell. I'll point, but you'll hear it. Ride. I didn't go back to the Z, but the Z sounds like almost a very small trash can. Is there going to be a drum breakdown? That is a great bit. I do love that kind of halftime feel with those stabs in there as well. Halftime? It's not really halftime, is it? It feels halftime, but because they're accenting every single beat, it's almost like they're double timing it. So I'm not saying it's one or the other. Let me try. Because it's not. That's a tricky one. Put it in the comments. It's not that it's above my pay grade, but to me that sounds like a halftime breakdown. But they're just accenting every single one of those notes, which kind of makes you think, oh, it's double time. Ba 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 ba. Interesting. We bring something new to this world. Ooh. I'm gonna do it before the solo really takes off on its own. But that was a great breakdown. I did say, is there gonna be a breakdown? So you can roadmap read these well-written songs. There's a breakdown, and there's a bit of a, everybody has that stab. They all go together. You'll hear it. Here you go. Almost very Frank Zappa. Not that he's the only one that does both ends. Stab. Ooh. Did you hear that? We do. Let's go to that. Oh, back onto the Z bell. Okay, what I will say, now I could be wrong, guitar aficionados, please do chime in here if you are in this comment thread. That sounded like a lot of those guitars were going through a fuzz box. It sounded very fuzz. There was also the element of that slight kind of kickback delay, but it was very chunky, very, well, I'm not going to say it was very chunky and also very clean, but it had that darker overtone to it. But then it did sound like it was coming through a fuzz box. I could be wrong. But that was a very enjoyable kind of call and response back and forth. Awesome bit of subtle fill there on the snare. Check it. Nice. Back to that Z bell. Those sloppy loose hats are just excellent. See, that is the body of the ride. You'll hear it. This is the body of the ride. Probably going to be a Z bell in a second. More. That was 100%. That was a false ending. They're fun to do. They are tricky to get right. Done a few, but they are fun to do. Here. More. See? That's a good false ending, man. That's how it started too. Don't forget, remember, go back to the beginning of the video. It starts with stabs on that floor tom and snare. Oh, great fill. That one's quality at the end. Now, what I would like to say as well, before we fully sign off here on this rather long video, and I do apologize, it feels good to be back in the saddle. I'll tell you that much. But I personally appreciate the lack of resonance on that snare drum. Reverb, sorry. I appreciate the lack of reverb, because a lot of the times when you're in the studio and they just slap a bunch of reverb on the snare to make it sound like you're hitting the drum in the center of the Royal Albert Hall, and it just goes quack, 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 quack. It's like, can we not actually use that on every single damn track? Can we just have... See, you probably had some reverb in this room because it's quite sharp. There's all hard walls. But just initially, that snap, that crack, cool. Don't drown the snare in reverb. Again, opinions, but it's very synonymous, kind of 80s rock. You think about Metallica. God damn, do I dislike Lars Ulrich, but that's an entirely different video that I actually don't even think I'll make because I don't want his name on my channel. So, in any event, I appreciate their absence of reverb on the snare. It makes me feel more comfortable that the drum is tuned appropriately, because reverb can drown out a lot of error or a lot of poor sounding snare, because then you've just got that big echo. Just let the drum live for itself, you know. That's again, personal preference. Here we go. Right, I'm going to sign off because we have made it to 15 minutes. Right, if you've stuck around this long, thank you very much. I do appreciate you all. Thank you for being here. There you go. I don't know if you've seen that. That's a group chat with some buddies, and that's what we're trying to do. Right, be well, keep your stick on the ice, do something nice for somebody that you know or don't know. Be well.